Hi there folks, we just had our first frost, as you can see by those very sad looking tomatoes. So I wanted to show you a couple of interesting aspects from the garden. This is the first bed I want to show you. It's late planted somewhere in August, French bean variety. We call them salad beans, with round pods which are edible when green. And this was harvested 4 times, I think, in the last month. But in September we also interplanted in the row of beans which were just starting to flower some rutabagas as seedlings, and they were completely covered by the bean plants, in which way they were sheltered from the heat and the sun, which kind of prevents them from bolting, and they don't suffer as much from the heat. And now that you can see that the frost killed the bean plants, we'll just chop and drop those. They will serve as mulch for the rutabagas, and the rutabagas can start growing in size in the coming months. They usually are harvested in late November, early December, depending on the weather. Another thing to note here is that the upper leaves of the green beans are killed by the frost damaged, but the lower leaves were not, which signifies that the frost was not really severe. Our outdoors thermometer measured about 0 to -1 degrees, so it was sort of a mild frost. And I'll show you another plant that also shows similar signs. So those sorry looking pepper plants in very couch grass infested bed are our chili peppers, and you can see that their leaves are droopy because they were damaged by the frost, and the peppers themselves are not soft and not squishy, which means that the frost did not damage the fruit, so it was not really cold. And I'll go and pick all the remaining green and semi-ripe peppers now and use those, probably marinated or roasted and then marinated in vinegar and garlic marinade. But also an interesting thing to note is that some of the plants, such as this one here, we plant them 2 by 2, so those are 2 separate plants, and you can see that this one has its leaves damaged, but this one did not, and it also has a couple of fruit on it. So I'm guessing that this plant here has a bit higher tolerance to frost, and I'll be removing this one and leaving those fruit here in the hopes that they'll ripen in the next couple of weeks. So we'll use the seed from that one next year to hopefully continue this at least small frost resistance in the gene pool of this chili pepper. Now you can see that this tomato plant is basically dead, but it still has lots of green fruit on it, and this is a San Marzano passato paste or canning tomato, and some of the fruit have started to even turn color a bit, so there is hope for those to ripen indoors. And most of the fruit that have lost their deep green color and started turning lightly green or even whitish in color, they also stand some chance of ripening indoors. And what cannot be ripened can be fermented into a green tomato ferment, like fermented like kimchi with green tomatoes. And we'll certainly be gathering all of those, plus all of the cherries which are left, and see how it goes. These are some green zebra tomatoes, and you can see that even though the plant has been frost damaged, the fruit themselves are pretty firm. If the frost has been more severe, the fruit will be mushy and soft to the touch, so those cannot be used, they'll be composted. But those green zebras are perfectly all right for ripening on the shelf or fermenting. As an experiment, we threw a layer of raw cover fabric on top of our late zucchini plant, and you can see that here, where the leaf of the zucchini was touching the raw cover and the temperature was lower, it was damaged by the frost. But down lower, you can see that the plant is healthy. It's pushing up fruit and new flowers. I just removed one of the male ones. We don't need those at the end of the season. Of course, the frost-hardy crops, such as those radishes and turnips, they even love the colder weather, and you can see that they have grown nicely, some of them to very curious sizes, and we'll probably start harvesting those in the next couple of weeks for autumn salads. They're sticking out of the soil because the resistance downwards is higher than resistance upwards because of the clay soil we have. And the black turnips are also starting to take shape nicely. We use those not only for salads but also medicinally. It's one of the greatest cough medicines for kids, which is made with the black turnip, but I'll talk about that in another episode. Those sweet peppers all died out in the frost, but we picked them a couple of days before, so no yield was lost here. But on the other hand, the leeks are thriving in the cooler weather. You can see that the leek is already starting to reach to a nice thickness. We might be needing to water it because the month of October went by with no rain at all. We also have some self-seeded parsnip here, which will be interesting to harvest. It's kind of snuck between the leek plants, so we'll see how that will perform. A couple of plants here and there. And finally, I wanted to show you our little harvest of sweet potatoes. This is from a couple of plants, and they each produced about 3 tubers of a decent size, which I'm very happy with considering the conditions in which they were grown. We'll be keeping those and probably eating them for the holidays, but we managed to harvest those before the frost, so we kept the roots of the plants plus short sizes of the stems, and we'll be overwintering those plants in our house indoors on the stairwell window, so we can have earlier starts for sweet potatoes. And I know, and we have grown starts from the tubers themselves, but this has been a mixed success for us, so I prefer to use the plants. And I saw this done by a friend gardener with a similar climate such as ours, so he's able to produce the very well developed starts by the end of May, while ours tuber started are usually not ready by that point. And you can see that there is some baby slug damage on those, but I'm hoping it's superficial. I am ending this video with a shot from our front garden in front of the house, where you can see that the tomatoes has not only not been damaged, but this late plant has great fruit set and it's still flowering, and it has new fruit set up top. The peppers, they still have fruit on them, and they're still flowering as well. So you can see what a massive difference a microclimate has on the health of the plant, and those light frosts have been completely avoided in our front garden.